So, the amazing story begins by showing a man named Rob, who was talking to his girlfriend, Beth, on a video call. They both loved each other very much, and several years had passed since they started their relationship. Until now, there hadn't been any rift between them. They shared every moment together and had a lot of fun. On the other hand, we are shown Rob's brother, Jason, who was with his wife, Lily. Together, they were planning a surprise party for Rob. They didn't want Rob to know about it because it was a surprise. Rob had received a job offer from a big company and was about to shift to Japan in a few days. So, before he left, Jason, Lily, and many of their friends wanted to surprise him. That's why they planned a party and invited all their friends. Everyone was going to celebrate Rob's farewell in a special way. The best part was that Rob had no idea about it. The scene shifts to the party, where a man named Hood is given a camera by Jason. Hood walks around the party with the camera, asking everyone to share their thoughts on Rob. This camera actually belonged to Rob, and everyone was recording their messages for him. They were all praising Rob and wishing him well for his future endeavors, especially for his work in Japan. Jason, Rob's older brother, was particularly happy because Rob was the only one in their family who had achieved so much. Soon, a lady named Melina arrived, and when asked about Rob, she got confused because she didn't know much about him. Eventually, the reason for her presence at the party would be revealed. After some time, Rob entered the party, and everyone was celebrating with him. Rob also enjoyed the secret party, sharing each moment with everyone and cherishing his last moments with his friends. Then, Rob's girlfriend, Beth, arrived, but she was with another guy. Rob was a bit shocked upon seeing this. It was revealed that Rob and Beth's relationship had ended because Rob was moving to Japan permanently, and they might never meet again. There was a huge argument between them, and they both broke up. However, Rob's only wish was that his girlfriend would come alone to the farewell party and share that moment with him. But, Beth had something completely different in mind. She brought her new boyfriend to the party, hoping to make Rob feel extremely jealous, and that's exactly what happened. Seeing this, Rob lost his composure, and he pulled Beth aside to confront her. The tension between them escalated quickly. At this point, Lily and Jason came over to intervene. Lily told Jason that Rob and Beth's relationship was officially over, and Beth had brought her new boyfriend, so a fight was inevitable. Rob didn't know what to do in that moment, so he quietly went outside to sit by himself. Jason went after him to calm him down and offered him a drink, hoping it would help Rob forget about what had just happened since he had to start fresh in Japan. As they were talking, suddenly there was an explosion from outside, causing the electricity to go out everywhere. Everyone at the party started running in fear. Rob, Beth, Jason, Lily, Melina, and the others rushed outside to see what was going on. Huge buildings were collapsing on their own, and there was destruction everywhere. As they looked up, they realized a massive monster was approaching them. The head of the Statue of Liberty suddenly fell in front of them, indicating how dangerous that monster was. Many people had already lost their lives under the rubble of buildings. In the chaos, Rob and his friends ran into a restaurant to hide. They hoped the monster would move on and leave once they stayed hidden. The sounds of the monster's destruction echoed all around as it continued wreaking havoc. No one understood where it had come from or what it wanted. Everyone was so scared, praying for their lives to be saved, but maybe even the gods couldn't help them in that moment. They stayed hidden inside the restaurant for a while, hoping the monster would move on. After the situation calmed down a bit, everyone stepped out and saw a terrifying sight. Everything around them was destroyed, and not a single building was left standing. All of this had been caused by the dangerous monster. No one knew where to go or what would be safe. Jason suggested they head toward Brooklyn City, which would require crossing a bridge. All of their friends followed Jason's lead, and a large group of people began to gather. They believed that if they crossed the bridge to the other side, the monster wouldn't be able to harm them. At that moment, Rob received a call from one of his friends, who was trying to tell him something, but the noise around him made it impossible to hear. Just then, the alien monster attacked the bridge from above. So many people were crushed in the attack that their numbers couldn't even be counted. Sadly, Jason was among them, and he died in front of Rob, who couldn't do anything to save him. As the chaos continued, the rest of the group fled to the other side, and Rob and his friends found a safe place. But here, Jason's girlfriend, Lily, was crying uncontrollably, as her boyfriend was now gone. Rob, too, was in shock, as he had just witnessed his older brother's death with his own eyes. The destruction around them was beyond comprehension, and no one knew what was happening. Their only focus was to survive. Rob was in deep thought, and so his friend Hood led everyone to a store. Inside, there was panic, with people running around in distress. Rob went straight to a corner, searching for a phone charger because his phone had died. Just before that, he had received a call from Beth. Rob quickly charged his phone and called her back. Once the call connected with Beth, she was screaming hysterically. Beth explained that she was stuck in her apartment with her boyfriend, and it was the same area where the creatures had first been spotted. If Beth wasn't rescued soon, she would be killed. Beth urgently requested Rob to come and save her. Meanwhile, everyone else was watching the large creature on television, which even the military couldn't stop. It was so massive. Suddenly, changes started happening to its body. These changes turned into small, weird creatures that were emerging from the body of the giant creature. These little creatures, with sharp teeth, began attacking the military officers, killing one person after another. Seeing this, the fear among everyone increased because the danger had escalated. Rob's friends tried to convince him not to go after Beth, warning him that his life would be at risk if he went there. But Rob, who truly loved Beth, couldn't think twice. Without hesitation, he decided to go save her. As a result, Lily, Hood, and Melina were forced to go with him. They all set out for Beth's apartment, which was located on the other side, the same area where the creatures had first been seen. It was a deserted zone. As they moved forward, suddenly, the giant creature appeared in front of them. They could handle the smaller creatures, but facing the massive creature was a different challenge. Fortunately, the military soldiers arrived from behind. They began firing everything they had at the creature. While the creature didn't take any significant damage, it gave Rob and his friends the opportunity to escape. They quickly moved to the side and ran toward a nearby service station. If they had gotten stuck between the military and the creature, their lives would have been in serious danger. They kept moving forward, using a map to navigate toward Beth's apartment. The route was quite long, so they had to travel a great distance. However, halfway there, they started hearing sounds coming from a tunnel, sounds of a creature. It was then that they realized that the small creatures, which had emerged from the body of the giant creature, were up above. These creatures immediately began attacking them. They started attacking, especially Melina, whom they bit. Lily and Hood rushed to help her, killing the small creatures and pushing forward to reach the apartment. When they were just a little further from the apartment, they were suddenly greeted by military soldiers. The soldiers took them to a base camp where many others had been rescued and safely housed, ensuring that no one could go outside and risk being attacked by the creatures. At the camp, Melina's condition had worsened. Blood was oozing from her eyes and body, likely due to the bites from the creatures, which meant she might have been infected. The soldiers realized this and decided to quarantine Melina. But suddenly, her body began to react violently, and her head exploded. Melina tragically died right there. Rob and his friends were shocked, witnessing this horrifying moment. It became clear that the creatures were so dangerous that their bites caused infections in humans, leading to horrifying transformations. The military soldiers took control of the situation, trying to manage the rest of the survivors. Rob then told them that he needed to go save his friend Beth, who was in an apartment somewhere in the city. The military captain refused, explaining that all helicopters would soon take off to evacuate the city. They might have to destroy the entire city to eliminate the creatures. But Rob was persistent, repeatedly requesting that he must go and save his friend no matter what. After hearing Rob's persistence, the captain finally agreed. He told Rob that he could go, and a final helicopter would come for a rescue mission. Rob just had to reach the location in time. Rob understood and immediately set off toward Beth's place, with Lily and Hood accompanying him, both eager to help him. After traveling for some time, they reached the most dangerous area, where the creatures were in high numbers. As soon as they reached Beth's apartment, which had been completely destroyed, they started searching for her. They found Beth unconscious on the ground, and Rob rushed to help her. If Rob had been any slower, Beth would have been crushed by the collapsing building. They managed to rescue her and quickly headed to a safe position where the military helicopter would arrive soon. They couldn't afford to miss it, otherwise, they would be stuck there. Meanwhile, the military soldiers were doing everything they could to fight the creature, firing multiple missiles at it. But the creature's body was so tough that the missiles couldn't penetrate it. Furious, the creature used its long tentacles to destroy large buildings in an instant. More than half of the city's buildings collapsed, and the devastation continued. It seemed like the creature would destroy the entire city. Rob, along with his friends, ran toward the military helicopter, joined by other survivors who were desperately trying to escape. They all reached the location just in time, and the military helicopter was ready for takeoff. Rob, Beth, and Hood boarded one helicopter, while Lily was sent to another. They were all relieved to have made it in time. As the helicopter lifted off into the air, they began to head toward safety. From the height, they could clearly see how massive the alien creature was and the destruction it was causing. The buildings around them were so badly damaged that no one had anticipated such devastation. Still, the military forces were doing their best to attack the creature. After several missile strikes, there was a huge explosion. The creature fell to the ground, and everyone thought that the military had successfully killed the creatures. Dust filled the air, and Rob and his friends felt a moment of relief. But from the dust, the creature suddenly reappeared, hitting the helicopter. The helicopter malfunctioned and crashed straight down into the city. Rob was trying his best to save Beth, but he was trapped and severely injured in the fall. After the crash, the military officers came to rescue them, leading them to a safe place. The creature was still right above them, and if they didn't move quickly, it would finish them off. Suddenly, their friend Hood noticed the camera had fallen. He decided to go back and retrieve it. Rob and Beth called out to him, but Hood didn't listen. The creature noticed Hood and, paralyzed with fear, Hood couldn't move. He simply tossed the camera behind him, but by then, the creature had already grabbed him and devoured him completely. Rob and Beth ran for their lives and took refuge in a tunnel. From there, it seemed like the creature was causing widespread destruction. The explosions grew larger, and even the military couldn't contain the chaos. At this point, they had no choice but to resort to a last-ditch option, to destroy the entire city. They had nuclear energy at their disposal to eliminate all the creatures in the city. Due to the radiation, everything in the city would be wiped out, but sadly, all the trapped humans wouldn't survive either. Rob and Beth realized this, and they accepted their fate. They knew that no one could save them now, and most of the people had already been evacuated. It was just karma that the military officers were now going to fire the nuclear bomb. Beth, now very close to Rob, started crying and apologized to him for cheating on him. Rob forgave Beth and recorded one final video in the camera. In the video, Rob spoke about their situation. "We won't make it out. We're here, and if anyone finds this video, know that we are done in this process. These creatures have killed my entire family, who were very important to me." Beth couldn't speak and just continued to cry. Soon after, the nuclear bomb detonated, and the massive shockwaves destroyed all the structures. The bridge under which Rob and Beth were trapped collapsed, burying them both, and they died a horrific death. The military officers and others believed that the creature was dead, but what they didn't know was that many of the creature's smaller offspring were still alive, hiding underground for protection. A few days later, the video footage that Rob had recorded was recovered. The footage contained many moments from Rob's life, and through these videos, the officers learned that the creatures were not entirely gone. This meant that another nuclear blast was required to wipe them out completely. As the officers watched the footage, they suddenly saw Rob and Beth in a much happier moment, together on a giant Ferris wheel. As Rob pointed the camera towards the sea, we saw something falling from the sky. It was none other than the massive alien creature that had fallen to Earth from deep space. Since then, it had evolved, growing so large that it destroyed the entire city. In the future, it was likely to create its own colony and move forward to wipe out the rest of the country. And so, our terrifying story ends here.